The Lone Guardian. The sun rose over the jagged horizon of Proxima b, casting long shadows across the rocky terrain. Captain Maya Chen stood at the observation deck of Outpost Sentinel, the only human structure on this distant frontier world. Her eyes, adapted to the perpetual twilight of this tidally locked planet, scanned the border between light and darkness where she'd built her home. For 3 years, Maya had been the sole guardian of this outpost. Earth's Defense Coalition had stationed her here to monitor for unusual activity in this sector of space, but the assignment was largely viewed as ceremonial. Most officials back home considered it a quiet post, far from the contested zones where galactic politics played out. Maya knew better. The calm wouldn't last forever. She tapped her wrist console, bringing up the morning diagnostics. The atmospheric sensors were picking up unusual energy patterns in the upper atmosphere, not natural ones. Ships were approaching. Computer, verify readings and identify energy signatures, Maya commanded, her voice steady despite the sudden acceleration of her pulse. Energy patterns match known Thraxian propulsion systems, the AI responded. Estimate 12 vessels of cruiser class or larger. Arrival imminent. Maya's jaw tightened. The Thraxians, a spacefaring empire known for their technological prowess and utter disregard for other species. They viewed humans as particularly insignificant, a young species that had barely managed to establish a handful of colonies beyond their home system. This wouldn't be a diplomatic visit. Maya accessed the Deep Space Communications Array, preparing to send an emergency message to Earth. Her fingers flew across the console, encoding the warning with the highest priority protocols. Warning: Thraxian fleet approaching Proxima b, 12 vessels confirmed. Request immediate. The console flashed red, and the transmission cut short. Communication interference detected. The AI announced. Unknown source blocking all outgoing transmissions. Maya slammed her fist against the console. They're jamming us. They must have deployed countermeasures before I detected them. She was alone. Help from Earth would take months to arrive, even if she could get a message through. Whatever the Thraxians wanted, she would have to face them by herself. Maya moved quickly through the outpost, activating defense protocols and gathering essential equipment. The facility wasn't built for combat. It was primarily a research station, but she had prepared for contingencies. Hours later, the first Thraxian ship entered orbit. It was massive, easily 20 times the size of her outpost, its hull gleaming with a metallic sheen that absorbed rather than reflected light. Others followed, positioning themselves in a geosynchronous pattern around the transitional zone of the planet. Maya's console chimed with an incoming transmission. She smoothed her uniform and accepted the call. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a Thraxian commander. The alien's scaled face and vertical pupils gave nothing away, but the set of its mandibles suggested something close to amusement. Human outpost, the commander said, its translator converting the clicks and whistles of its native language into stilted English. I am Supreme Commander Vexkar of the Thraxian Expeditionary Force. Your presence has been noted, though it is irrelevant to our operations. Maya stood straight, meeting the alien's gaze. This is Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Defense Coalition. Proxima b is under human protection. State your purpose here. The Thraxian's mandibles clicked rapidly. Laughter. Protection. One human in a research station. Your species' arrogance is remarkable given your limitations. Nevertheless, Maya pressed, I am obligated to inform you that unauthorized resource extraction or military action in this system violates interstellar conventions. Vexkar leaned forward. Your conventions mean nothing to us. We have detected significant deposits of quantum crystals in this system. We will harvest them. Your presence will be tolerated as long as you do not interfere. Quantum crystals. Maya understood immediately. The rare mineral was crucial for advanced faster-than-light drives. With a large enough supply, the Thraxians could expand their fleet exponentially. Commander Vexkar, Maya said carefully, I must warn you about this planet's unstable geological composition. The quantum crystal deposits are embedded within a network of highly volatile tectonic plates. Extraction could trigger catastrophic reactions. We are familiar with extracting resources from various planetary bodies. Vexcar dismissed. Your primitive understanding of geology is noted but unnecessary. Before Maya could respond, the transmission ended abruptly. She stood in silence for a moment, then turned to the view screen showing the Thraxian ships. Already, smaller vessels were detaching from the capital ships, descent craft carrying mining equipment and personnel. They had dismissed her warning completely. They saw her as they saw all humans, insignificant, technologically backward, barely worth acknowledging. They have no idea what they're about to unleash, Maya whispered. She had spent 3 years studying this planet's unique properties. Proxima b existed in a delicate balance, its proximity to its red dwarf star creating tidal forces that kept the planet's core in a constant state of flux. The quantum crystals weren't just deposits, they were part of a natural regulatory system that stabilized the planet's electromagnetic field. Maya accessed the outpost's central computer. Computer, activate all seismic monitoring stations. Begin full spectrum analysis of crystal formation patterns. Seismic network activated, the computer confirmed. Warning: Thraxian mining vessels approaching monitoring station Alpha 3. Maya nodded grimly. Let them come. They think our equipment is primitive. They won't bother destroying what they don't consider a threat. She moved to the science lab, where her own modifications to the outpost systems remained hidden from casual inspection. Standard-issue equipment had been augmented with her own designs, the result of 3 years of solitude and ingenuity. The Thraxians had made a critical mistake. They had dismissed a single human as inconsequential. They didn't understand that humans, especially isolated ones, became dangerous when cornered. Over the next 48 hours, Maya watched as the Thraxians established mining operations across the Terminator line of Proxima b. Their massive excavators tore into the planet's crust, extracting the glittering quantum crystals with ruthless efficiency. Each time they pierced a new vein of crystals, Maya's instruments registered a spike in electromagnetic activity. The planet was responding, its natural systems struggling to maintain equilibrium as the Thraxians disrupted the very forces that kept Proxima b stable. On the 3rd day, Maya received another transmission from Commander Vexcar. Your monitoring devices are interfering with our equipment, the Thraxian stated without preamble. Remove them, or we will destroy them. Maya kept her expression neutral. My equipment is simply taking readings. Any interference you're experiencing is likely feedback from the crystal extraction process itself. Impossible, Vexcar snapped. Our technology is far superior to anything humans possess. Superior technology doesn't change the laws of physics, Maya countered. The crystals are part of this planet's natural electromagnetic regulation system. By removing them, you're destabilizing. Enough. The Thraxian scales flushed a dark purple with anger. Your primitive understanding is becoming an annoyance. Continue to interfere, and we will reconsider your status here. The threat was clear, but Maya remained calm. At least allow me to share my research data. It might help you extract the crystals more efficiently. A pause. Efficiency was something the Thraxians respected. Send your data, Vexcar conceded. Our engineers will determine if it has any value. The transmission ended, and Maya immediately began compiling the information package. It contained genuine research on the planet's properties, with certain critical details altered. The Thraxians would find it convincing enough to follow, but the extraction pattern she suggested would accelerate the planet's reaction to their interference. As she worked, Maya glanced at the readouts from her monitoring stations. The planet's electromagnetic field was already showing signs of instability. Small tremors rippled across the Terminator zone, growing in intensity with each new mining site. The Thraxians had ignored her warnings, dismissing both her and the power of the world they were so carelessly exploiting. They thought one human didn't matter. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Maya sent the data package to the Thraxian fleet, then moved to the outpost's core systems. Her fingers flew across the controls, activating a series of modifications she had installed throughout her monitoring network. Computer, initialize Protocol Gaia. Authorization, Chen Omega 7. Protocol Gaia initialized. The computer confirmed. Warning. This action may result in significant geological events. Proceed. Maya looked out at the Thraxian ships hovering above her world, blind to the forces they were unleashing. Proceed, she commanded. It's time they learned what happens when you underestimate both humanity and nature. The monitoring stations across Proxima B, dismissed by the Thraxians as primitive human technology, began emitting precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses designed to interact with the planet's natural fields and the remaining crystal formations deep within the crust. Maya had not built weapons. She didn't need to. She had simply created a way to speak to the planet itself, to whisper to forces far more powerful than anything humans or Thraxians could create. As night fell on her side of Proxima B, Maya watched the first flickers of unusual auroras appearing in the sky. The planet was answering her call, and the Thraxians were about to face the consequences of their arrogance. Nature's wrath unleashed. The first sign that something was wrong came just hours after Maya activated Protocol Gaia. A Thraxian mining vessel reported unusual energy fluctuations near extraction site Gamma 7. The supervisor dismissed it as equipment malfunction and ordered operations to continue. That was their second mistake. The first had been ignoring Maya's warnings. From her observation deck, Maya tracked the growing disturbances across the planet's surface. The modified monitoring stations were performing exactly as designed, amplifying the natural electromagnetic resonance of the quantum crystal networks. Each pulse traveled through the planet's crust, growing stronger as it interacted with the crystalline structures the Thraxians had partially exposed. Her console chimed with an incoming transmission. Commander Vexkar's scaled face appeared, mandibles clicking in agitation. "What is happening to this planet?" the Thraxian demanded. "Our sensors are detecting increasing seismic activity near our extraction sites." Maya kept her expression calm. "As I tried to warn you, Commander, the quantum crystals are integrated into the planet's natural stabilization system. Removing them has consequences. Our geological surveys detected no such integration," Vexkar insisted, though uncertainty had crept into its voice. "Your surveys were superficial," Maya replied. "I've studied this planet for 3 years. The crystal formations are focal points for tectonic energy dissipation. By removing them, you've created pressure points that the planet is now trying to equalize." On cue, a tremor shook the outpost. Not violent, but noticeable, the first of many to come. "Fix this," Vexkar ordered. "Tell us how to stabilize the extraction zones." Maya straightened her shoulders. "I can help, but you need to halt all extraction operations immediately. The planet needs time to re-establish equilibrium." "Unacceptable." The Thraxian scales darkened. "The harvest will continue. Deploy your human solutions without interrupting our work." The transmission cut off abruptly. Maya sighed. She had expected this response. The Thraxians prided themselves on never retreating, never admitting error. Their rigid hierarchy punished any show of weakness or failure. "Computer, status of Protocol Gaia?" she asked. "Phase 1 complete. Electromagnetic resonance established across 78% of the monitoring network. Phase 2 ready to initiate on your command." Maya hesitated. Phase 2 would significantly amplify the effects, potentially causing major damage to the Thraxian operations. People could be hurt, but the alternative was allowing them to strip the planet of its regulatory system, which would eventually lead to catastrophic collapse. "Initiate Phase 2, she commanded. "Focus resonance patterns on mining sectors Alpha through Delta." Acknowledged. Phase 2 initiated. Maya moved to the geological monitoring station, watching as the redouts began to spike. Deep within Proxima B's crust, The remaining quantum crystals were responding to her monitoring station's signals, vibrating at precisely calculated frequencies. The vibrations traveled through the interconnected crystal lattice, growing stronger, creating a harmonic cascade that the Thraxian's instruments weren't calibrated to detect until it was too late. The first major tremor hit 30 minutes later. Maya braced herself against the console as the outpost shook. On her screens, she watched as a fissure opened near one of the primary Thraxian mining sites, releasing a plume of superheated steam and electromagnetic energy. Multiple alarms sounded across her control room. The Thraxian mining operations had triggered something beyond even Maya's calculations. The crystal networks were generating massive energy discharges as they fractured. Her emergency communication system activated automatically. Captain Chin, a Thraxian site supervisor, appeared on screen, panic evident in its rapid mandible movements. Our primary excavator is sinking into a suddenly liquefied section of crust. What is happening? The crystal network is collapsing, Maya explained urgently. When the crystals fracture, they release stored electromagnetic energy, which superheats the surrounding minerals. You need to evacuate that sector immediately. Impossible. Supreme Commander Vexkar has ordered. The transmission dissolved into static as another, stronger tremor shook the planet. On her monitoring screens, Maya watched in horrified fascination as the ground beneath the Thraxian excavator gave way completely. The massive machine, along with its crew, disappeared into a churning vortex of molten rock and crystal shards. Computer, project damage scenarios if current seismic activity continues to increase. The AI processed for a moment. At current trajectory, 60% of Thraxian mining operations will experience critical failures within 3 hours. Planetary crust stability compromised in extraction zones. Warning: potential for runaway reaction detected. Maya hadn't anticipated this level of response from the planet. Protocol Gaia was designed to disrupt the Thraxian operations, not trigger a potential planetary catastrophe. She needed to regain control of the situation before both the Thraxians and her outposts were destroyed. Computer, prepare to initialize dampening protocols across all monitoring stations. Before she could issue the command, her view screen activated again. This time, Supreme Commander Vexkar appeared, no longer projecting calm superiority. Its scales were pale with stress, and its command center appeared to be in disarray, with subordinates rushing back and forth behind it. "What have you done, human?" the Thraxian demanded. "I've done nothing that I didn't warn you about," Maya replied steadily. "The planet is responding to your extraction activities. The quantum crystal network is collapsing. Our sensors show energy patterns emanating from your monitoring stations. You are causing this." Maya shook her head. "My stations are amplifying what was already happening, Commander. But the fundamental problem is your extraction method. You're tearing out the planet's regulatory system with no regard for the consequences." Another tremor hit, stronger than before. In the background of Vexkar's transmission, Maya heard alarms blaring. "Supreme Commander," one of the Thraxian officers called out. "We've lost contact with extraction sites Epsilon and Zeta. The crystal energy discharge has disabled their communications and propulsion systems." Vexkar's mandibles twitched in what Maya recognized as fear. "How do we stop this?" "Cease all extraction operations immediately," Maya instructed. "Power down your remaining excavators. The energy signatures they emit are agitating the crystal network further." For the first time, the Supreme Commander didn't argue. It issued rapid orders to its subordinates, who rushed to comply. "What else?" Vexkar asked, turning back to Maya. "My monitoring stations can help stabilize the remaining crystal formations, but I need control of your orbital positioning systems. We need to create a counter-resonance pattern to dampen the energy discharges." The Thraxian commander hesitated only briefly before nodding. "Sending access codes now." Maya worked quickly, integrating the Thraxian positioning systems with her monitoring network. As another violent tremor shook the outpost, she initiated the dampening protocol, sending precisely calibrated energy pulses through the remaining crystal formations. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to change. The tremors continued, and reports of failures across the Thraxian mining operations poured in. Then, gradually, the seismic activity began to subside. The energy discharges diminished in frequency and intensity. "It's working," Maya confirmed, studying the readings. "The crystal network is beginning to stabilize. But this is temporary. The damage to the planetary system is extensive." On screen, Vexker seemed to deflate slightly, its usual imposing posture compromised by the realization of what had nearly happened. "One human," the Thraxian said quietly. "One human on an outpost we considered insignificant." Maya met its gaze. "It wasn't me you underestimated, Commander. It was this planet. Nature finds its balance, whether we respect that or not." The tremors had subsided to occasional mild shakes by the time the Thraxian fleet prepared to depart. Their mining equipment lay abandoned or destroyed. The quantum crystal harvest a fraction of what they had intended to extract. Maya stood at her observation deck, watching as the massive ships broke orbit one by one. A final transmission came through from Supreme Commander Vexkar. "The Thraxian Empire does not forget, Captain Chen," the commander said. Its tone was not exactly threatening, but carried a weight of significance. "Neither does Earth," Maya replied, "or this planet. An official report will acknowledge that the quantum crystal deposits on Proxima b are unsuitable for extraction due to planetary instability." Vexkar continued. "No mention will be made of other factors." Maya understood. The commander couldn't admit being outmaneuvered by a single human. Such an admission would end its career or worse. "That seems reasonable," she agreed. "Though I hope the report will also recommend against future extraction attempts." "It will." Vexkar paused, its vertical pupils fixed on Maya. "You defended your territory with minimal resources against a superior force. The Thraxian Empire recognizes resourcefulness when we encounter it. Coming from a Thraxian, this was unprecedented praise." "Safe journey, Commander," Maya said simply. The transmission ended, and the final Thraxian vessels disappeared into the darkness of space. Maya turned her attention to the monitoring screens, where the planet's vital signs were slowly returning to normal parameters. The damage would take years to heal completely, but Proxima b would survive. She activated her communications array, finally able to send a message to Earth now that the Thraxian jamming systems were gone. "Outpost Sentinel to Earth Defense Coalition. Situation report follows. Thraxian extraction fleet encountered and repelled. Request immediate scientific support team to assist with planetary stabilization procedures." She paused, considering how to explain everything that had happened. Additional note. Recommend updating first contact protocols to emphasize that a single human representative should not be underestimated. Sometimes, being underestimated is our greatest advantage. As the message transmitted across the light years toward Earth, Maya began the methodical process of repairing her outpost and modifying her monitoring stations to help heal the planet's wounds. The Thraxians had come expecting to find an insignificant human on an insignificant world. They had departed with a new understanding of both. In the silent moments between her tasks, Maya watched the unusual auroras dancing across Proxima b's sky. Electromagnetic energy released by the disrupted crystal networks, painting the heavens with curtains of light. Beautiful and dangerous, just like the planet itself, just like humanity at its best. They had thought one human didn't matter. Earth's fury, channeled through both technology and nature, had proved them wrong. Maya smiled as she returned to her work. The universe had just become a little more aware of humanity's potential, not through overwhelming force or advanced technology, but through respect for the natural world and the ingenuity to work with it rather than against it. That was humanity's true strength, and now the Thraxians knew it too.